Yo, what is popping, guys? This is Ark and welcome back to another Mythic Heroes video. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the Thanksgiving event. So when you click on the Thanksgiving event, it'll take you to this Thanksgiving check-in page. So on the very first day when you check in, you'll get 10 harvest coins. On the second day that you check in, you'll get another 10 harvest coins, and so on and so forth for the remainder of the days. So just from check-in, you'll get a total of 70 harvest coins, 10 of them every single day. Now, what do you do with the harvest coins? Well, let's go ahead and click on the Thanksgiving market, as this is where you'll go to spend them. But before we click on that, let's take a look at the Thanksgiving store. So every single day you'll get, for 7 days of the week, you'll get 4 market coins or Thanksgiving tokens or whatever you want to call them for free. And then you'll also be able to pay 200 diamonds to purchase 4 more twice a day if you wish to do so. And then there's also the Nova Star packs. For most players, I would only recommend to just pick up the free ones. I wouldn't buy the ones in the diamonds for diamonds, and unless you're whaling, I personally wouldn't spend for the Nova deals, but that's just me. But let's now take a look at the market. So the first thing you'll notice about the market when you first click on it is at the very top right corner, there will be a daily cornucopia basket, where if you click on that, you'll get a couple more of the harvest coins. And what do you do with all the harvest coins? Well, the market has some items for you to spend them on. So on the top row, we have limited summon scrolls, we have astral fate crystals, and then we have inspiration water, which is for the muses, crown of splendor, which is also for the muses. On the second row, we have some UR heroes, we have Marduk, Iset, Dangan, and Lilith. And then we run into 8 of the SSR heroes, with the first row being Thor, Artemis, Nephthys, Faust, and then the second row having Aladdin, Lubu, Tatiana, and Nagakaina. On the bottom row right after that, we have some artifact fragments, some rune fragments, we have divinity custom chests, we have soul seal custom chests, and then there's antique treasure custom chests, which have shards of some of the antique boxes. We have this fortune chest, which will give you a bunch of random stuff. We have cube fragments, some inherited divinity. We have SR hero shards, and then some random faith. And then below all of those, we have a couple more items, but they are locked behind a couple of days. I'm not sure if these items will cost the harvest coins or if these items will cost diamonds, because in last year's event, they did have a couple of items that were available for purchase with diamonds, but I'm not sure if they'll do it again for this year's event. So, as you can see, there's a lot of options of what you can buy, but some of them aren't necessarily that great value in my opinion. So in this video, we're going to go over what I think are the best buys. But before I get into that, some of you guys might not have all of these items unlocked at the start of the event. I believe you will have to progress a little bit through campaign, and it'll vary based on your progression system. Now let's get into what I think are some of the items that are going to be worth good value and some of the ones that are not going to be worth as much value. So for all accounts, regardless of where you are progression wise, I think everyone should be picking up the cube fragments, as the cube is quite a nice asset to have. If you are early on and you do need to build quite a number of heroes, picking up some of the and you do like summoning, picking up some of the limited summon scrolls I don't think is too bad. but I definitely would avoid the fate crystals because the astrolabe of fate can be very scammy at times. The inspiration water and the crown of splendor, I believe, will be more ideal for players in late game or end game once you have a good box or a good roster already built where you can now put more attention to your muses. So I would only pick those up if you are at that stage. As for the UR heroes, I personally would not be picking any of them up, as I believe that they wouldn't necessarily be offering the best value for your account. However, if you just want to build a UR hero and you don't really care about account progress, I guess you might as well pick one up. And the same thing can be said about the SSR heroes, as not many of them are going to necessarily be very key or very vital for most teams. The only heroes that I think could potentially have some sort of usage for most players is probably going to be Nagakaina, as she's a pretty good late game healer. But I suppose if you're early on and you decide to build one of these heroes just for fun and you are going to get level capped, I could see an argument being made for picking one of them up potentially, but I would still advise against picking them for the most part. And now let's move on to the artifact fragments and the rune fragments. I personally am not a fan of picking either of them up from the shop, as I believe you do get quite a number of them just by playing the game occasionally, and there's no real rush to upgrade your runes or your equipment too badly, especially when there's some of the other items on this list. So now that we've gone over some of the stuff that I think you should avoid, one thing, like I said before, that everyone should be getting is cubes. Outside of cubes with the remainder of your points, if you're early on and you need to be building a lot of heroes' divinities, the divinity custom chest I don't think is too bad value, as it does offer a good chunk of divinity resources, and the same thing can be said about the inherited divinity. It is a little bit overpriced here in my opinion, but if you're early on and you need to build a lot of heroes, I think it would be fine if you picked it up because you are going to need a lot of them down the road. I would personally avoid the SR hero shards for the most part for a lot of players, as I don't believe them to boost an account's progress by too much. However, if you are whaling, it is something you could look into once you've exhausted some of the other stuff you're going for. And then for the faith that are all just 70 faith tokens or 70 faith points for one of the harvest coins, I believe you shouldn't really be focusing on that too much, as those are essentially just ways to use up your remainder coins at the end of the event. Now, if the items that are currently locked right now will have or will be available for purchase with harvest coins, I would probably only be picking up the tomb exploration, and I wouldn't really be focusing much on any of the other ones. But I'm not sure if they'll be available for diamonds or if they'll be available for harvest coins. So just in case, I wouldn't be using up the harvest coins too much right now. I'd just save them and use them towards the latter end of the event. But yeah, if they are for diamonds, however, I think it would depend on the cost of each of the items. But if they were for diamonds, it honestly depends on your account and how you play the game, but picking up the tomb exploration maps should be beneficial for almost all accounts as well. I'm not a big fan of the normal summon scrolls, as you ideally are going to be building only like a certain few heroes or a certain specific kind of heroes, and the normal summon scrolls will just give you access to every single hero. You can't really focus on a single one. And then the same thing can be said for the UR voucher. However, I don't believe that the URs, that there's no real rush to build any UR, as you can get pretty far just by building up SSRs. However, if you are interested in building up a UR, I still would advise you against picking up this one, as I do believe that this is a random. As for the other ones, I would personally not, if they I would personally avoid those unless they are the selector faction ones where you get to pick a certain hero, in which case it might be worth looking into it to get key heroes such as Odin, Archimedes, Freya, Medusa, etc., etc. So yeah, that's my brief overview of the Thanksgiving market and what I think you should be buying and what items I think you should be avoiding. If you like the vid, be sure to drop a like, give it a thumbs up, let me know down in the comments below if you disagreed with some of my opinions, and I'll see you in a later video. Peace out, Girl Scouts.